Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Generator Skills Impact Series. I'm Nadel, and I'm our Skills Accelerator Vice President. And I'm excited to welcome Ben to our conversation today. Hey, Ben, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Thank you.
Awesome. Of course. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us about your experience in the Generator Skills Program. We'll go ahead and just jump into our questions. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
My name's Ben. Like I said, I'm a IT help desk worker right now. I have a master's in cybersecurity, and I'm still in the very early stage of my career.
Amazing. And what led you, with having already a master's in cybersecurity, what led you to the Generator Skills Program?
A recommendation from my parents, actually. They had heard of it,
Gotcha.
and they had recommended it just because the job market is challenging right now,
Absolutely.
especially for IT workers, especially with the rise of AI and things like that.
Yeah.
It can be challenging to get your foot in the door. And so I was going to basically just take every advantage I could get.
Gotcha. I love
And
that.
yeah, and so this was an example of that.
Okay. And so you went through our IT Helpdesk program, which does lead to CompTIA credentials, and you went through the program
Yes.
last year, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about your experience in the program, kind of how you, what stood out to you, what you enjoyed about it, maybe things we could even change.
I think I had a pretty positive experience with it. The one-on-one meetings with my coach Kevin were very good. That I think more than anything else is what led me to getting the job, but also the structure behind getting the certification helped a lot too, in terms of just making sure that I pushed through that and got it done, and that taught me a lot of basics.
Okay.
Um, that really helped because as I discovered, there's a difference between like knowing cybersecurity stuff and just general IT stuff. Like there's a lot of theory versus practice, and the the certification helped a lot in terms of getting the practice side of things.
That's such a good point with regards to kind of even across IT. I think a lot of people think of IT almost as one monolith industry. And that if you have experience in IT, you kind of understand probably all of the things. But to your point, there is a big difference between theory and practice, and then also understanding kind of like the entry level pieces that lead all the way up through cybersecurity, I'm sure are different along the way. Tell us a little
Definitely,
bit
yeah.
about your experience with the kind of preparing for the exam, because I think that that's something that a lot of individuals that go through our IT programs, the IT program itself is relatively rigorous. There's a lot of information to learn and to kind of move through. But then, how did you find yourself preparing for the actual CompTIA certification?
Um, I think there was a bunch of practice quizzes that we found, and I think it was Kevin. Kevin recommended me a software like subscription service called I think Pocket Prep. It was.
Awesome.
You'll have to check with him if that's the correct name,
Okay.
but it was a monthly fee service, and it gave me access to hundreds of different questions and stuff, and in a structured way where I could practice my way through different levels of questions and on different topics and focus in on areas that were weak.
Awesome. And so, what would you say was your biggest challenge during the training? Was it kind of finding the time to do it? Was it the information itself?
I'd say my biggest challenge was, um, on some level, I'd forgotten how to study for a test.
I know the feeling. Yes.
Over the few months, was having to relearn how to study for standardized tests. And if I'm allowed to be a bit not positive here, that I would say is the one big weakness of a certification.
Okay.
And why I would possibly recommend adding in some home lab stuff to the certifications,
Okay. Great
because the
suggestion.
certifications, they teach you a lot, but they also primarily teach you how to study for the test.
Got it.
And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of stuff, as I discovered, unfortunately, during my first job, there's a lot of stuff that practical experience that those don't teach you. And there's a lot of stuff that just can't be boiled down to multiple choice questions.
Absolutely. That makes sense. That's really good feedback. And we take all of the feedback to heart. So we'll take a look at that and we'll see what we can do to potentially enhance the program for individuals that are coming through.
Yeah, definitely. I would say like home labs or more direct practice, I would say,
Got it.
because it's again that theory versus practice thing. The stuff in the certification was very practical, but also it there was still a gap between doing that and actually looking at the computer parts, actually
Yeah.
seeing all these things, actually managing with a customer who is not happy with you.
Yes. Got it. Kind of real world experiences and simulations.
Yes,
Got
it's
it.
yes, and there's only so much of that you can get from a test and a series of videos.
Absolutely. So tell us how did the program itself and the certification help you reach your next career step? And
I think the
what are you doing
program
today?
itself helped way more than any certification because one of the big things was it finally gave me the impetus. So I have social anxiety. I am a very anxious person. And for a while, I had been holding back on messaging hiring people after I applied to a position because I didn't want to be rude.
Okay.
And when I got my first job after this program, the things the hiring manager told me was that the fact that like I had been convinced to actually give that a try and reach out, and that was a key factor in why I got the job and why I got the initial foot in the door interview.
Amazing.
Like she specifically cited, hey, you went in and you messaged me on LinkedIn immediately after applying, and that showed me that you really wanted this, and that showed me that you would be a good candidate because you were putting in that extra effort.
Oh, that is fantastic
Sorry,
advice.
my cut out.
Oh,
You
sorry. You're
we
back.
good?
Yep, we got
All
you.
right.
Yep, we got you. The last thing we heard was that you said that because you had messaged her on LinkedIn, she knew that you really wanted the job and were excited about it.
Yeah, and that I think got me the foot in the door and got me into the interview process, which is where I was able to show my strengths better than just on paper because there's on paper at that point my resume wasn't very impressive because I was somewhat transferring careers.
Got it.
Because I was initially my undergrad degree had been in computer animation. I initially wanted to go into that before I started learning about the working conditions in the industry and decided to shift paths.
Okay.
So I was coming at a somewhat of a disadvantage where where I had the master's degree, but my undergrad degree was basically completely unrelated, and I needed to show, and I wasn't able to really show my strengths until I got into the interview process, and they actually started asking me questions about, hey, here's a situation, what would you do for it, and I could show that I understood the process of troubleshooting.
Got it. Oh, that's really helpful too. And the fact that in our program, as you're mentioning, we do try to support a lot of kind of intangible skills or tips and tricks that allow you to kind of put your best foot forward. And it sounds like this was definitely one of them. And actually
Yeah, and
literally
actually, I
got
think
your
that
foot in
there's
the door.
actually yes, something actually that I think this is just another thing that I think could improve practice interviews is I don't 100% remember, but I don't think there were any questions in my practice interview that were like, hey, here is a situation. How would you solve? Here is a situation. How would you troubleshoot this? And every single interview I've done so far has had one of those questions.
Got it. Okay, that's also great feedback. We can absolutely add that. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
there have been testing where it's like, hey, here's a situation. What would you do? What would your process be?
Okay.
And they want to just make sure that you know the troubleshooting process, and also that you know you're going to probably need to do some research.
Yes,
That's another big thing because
absolutely.
it's as a 10-year program couldn't teach you everything in IT. Like it's
Absolutely.
just such a big topic with such complex varieties of every single computer model has its own idiosyncrasies. Every single software has its own unique systems. And yeah, and a good part of this job is research.
Yep. Yep. So tell us a little.
Because I can guarantee you somebody on Reddit has had your problem before and the solution is there. You just need to be able to comb through and find it.
That's a great other an additional skill too, specifically as you're moving into IT, is kind of the ability to research information either while you're addressing the issue itself and trying to find a solution, or kind of pre-researching so that you have an understanding of the things that might come up as you're moving through the role.
Yeah. And also, I would say technical writing is a very useful skill as well, because sometimes you're thrown into a company that doesn't have a great knowledge base for the software yet, and
Yeah.
a great way to show how valuable you are and to help both yourself and everyone who comes after you is to write that knowledge base,
Yes.
to actually document the steps you've taken to solve problems and what the symptoms were, and make sure that there's not knowledge is not just recorded in the ticket but also in a knowledge base somewhere.
That's great. That's goes back to I have a background in operations, and it goes back to kind of setting up essentially standard operating procedures. But yours is kind of like saying
Yes,
knowledge
exactly.
procedures, right? Like these are the things that are going to come up, and you want to be able to disseminate that knowledge across different people on your team.
Yeah, because otherwise, when you leave,
Yep.
suddenly nobody's going to know how to solve this software,
Yes.
and that just creates a huge problem that I've seen happen.
Absolutely. That's such a great point. So tell us a little bit about what the impact of kind of like going through the program was, and then obviously landing your role on your life has been.
I'd say it's been a very positive impact. Like, I mean, I got the job.
Yeah.
There were some circumstances, and I am on my second job now, but I am feeling much more at home in this job. The experiences with my first job prepared me for this one and made me fit much better into it.
Amazing.
Um, and I think just the general training about, especially the stuff about the interview process and the being willing to reach out and follow up directly myself
Awesome. And
to
what
the
advice
recruiter. That, I think, if there was any one thing that made this whole thing worth it, it's that.
I love that. And that actually is kind of, you already answered the question I feel like that I was about to ask, which would be what advice would you give someone who's thinking about joining the program? And maybe it's just simply following up and staying in touch with individuals.
That is definitely it. That is definitely a big piece of advice, because finding a job these days, it's honestly, I hate to say it, but it's less about skills and more about who you know.
Got it. That's it. What you've been
It's
experiencing. Yes, we
it's
hear that.
about networking. It's
Yes,
about knowing
networking.
somebody who knows somebody who will reach out to you and help you find a new position,
Yes, got
or
it.
who will remember, oh, I had that nice conversation with Ben the other day, and we just got a new position that's opened up.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to reach out to him, see if he's interested.
And that I would say, especially with, someone like you that has social anxiety, that could be really challenging because
It
networking
is,
across a
yes.
lot of people is not an easy thing, even when it's done virtually. So it does take a lot of, I would say it takes a lot of skill to network
Yes, no,
appropriately,
networking
properly.
is a skill,
Yes,
yes.
absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm happy to hear that kind of like that's part of the advice that you would give to people because also even in the program, right, as you know, working with Kevin, there's a lot of interaction that's going on all throughout the entire program and just your ability to kind of feel comfortable reaching out to him to ask questions, reaching out to him to get more information. That helps build that skill of networking.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I can't say enough nice things about Kevin. He was incredible throughout the process, so helpful, so kind, so just relentlessly focused on the well-being of the people he was teaching.
I love hearing that. He is absolutely one of our best program managers. He's been with us for a very long time. Actually, him and I started on the first day at gener8tor together. Thank you for sharing that, and I'll be sure to pass that along to him. Obviously, if he's watching as well, Kevin, we're so appreciative of all your skills and the way in which you dedicate yourself to your participants. As you can hear, Ben is a shining example of how when great coaching meets great preparation, like amazing things happen in terms of landing a new role and getting a new job. So if you could share one message, Ben, with the audience, what would it be?
Um, don't let yourself get caught up in what in the possibilities of what you might encounter, and just start doing it. Like,
Uh,
if you wait till you think you're ready, you're never going to be ready.
yeah,
Because I very much did not think I was ready when I started my first job, and I'm very glad I did, because I don't think without that experience I ever would have been nearly as confident on my second job. And the second job has been amazing, and getting in the door and getting that actually started and learning, it was a hard process, but thinking about where I am now, yeah, it was worth it.
That's amazing to hear. And that's also one of the things that anxiety can sometimes do, which is keeps you back from actually stepping into experiences where you're going to gain additional confidence and knowledge. You don't have to know it all when you first go into it. You have to be open to the fact that you're going to continue learning. Some of it might be really hard and challenging, but you know that you'll get through it, coming back to kind of just general perseverance, which obviously you displayed not only in the program, but also into your first role and now taking even on a second job that, like you said, you love. So
Yeah.
congratulations, not only for finishing the program, but also for all of your career success thus far. And we're really excited to continue hearing from you. Obviously, as you know, our program is available for additional support as you keep moving through your career development. Kevin and our team are always here to support, all of the next steps that you have.
Yes, definitely, and I really appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Your insights and knowledge have been incredibly helpful, and I'm sure are going to help a lot of other individuals who are thinking about going through a program or, frankly, just thinking about starting anything new, right? If they've been holding themselves back from it, take it from Ben, just step into the first thing and go from there.
Yeah, definitely, and that applies to not just job stuff, but like even hobbies and everything. Like if I'm out to get, I just finished painting some miniatures for a tabletop game that I've been working, that I've been doing, and I
Amazing.
am very pleasantly happy with the results, despite the fact that I am still very new to painting, and the fact that I just decided to go ahead and put the paint on the plastic, I've learned a lot from it, and I get models that I'm pretty dang happy with how they come out.
That is awesome, Ben. Thank you so much for sharing, a bit of that too. Because I think that this doesn't just pertain, the skills that you learn in our program don't just pertain to career development. They actually are true life skills that are going to help enhance and allow you to enjoy different things, even if you're a little apprehensive when you first go into them.
Definitely, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Ben, thank you so much for your time today. And we do hope to hear from you soon. Keep us posted on all of your next steps with your career, okay?
I definitely will. Thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you.